After opening my very first barbershop, I was barely bringing in £1,800 a week. Not terrible, but I was working 70 plus hours, barely covering costs and questioning if I'd made a fucking massive mistake. Fast forward 18 months, that same shop was generating 7.5 grand a week, and I was working just 20 hours. Within 3 years, I'd open up 3 more barbershop locations without taking on any debt, using the cash flow to reinvest. The difference wasn't better haircuts or a better location. It was implementing the exact system that I'm about to share with you guys for free. I'm Jay Adams, and if you've recently opened a barbershop or you're ready to take your existing shop to the next level, hit that subscribe button below. This video will give you the exact framework that transformed my barber businesses and has now helped dozens of other shop owners just like you do the exact same. Opening a barbershop is the easy part. The real challenge begins after the doors open. Now, most barbershop owners fall into one of 3 traps. So number 1 is the technical trap, believing that being a great barber means you'll run a great business. The skills that make you exceptional behind the chair are completely different from those needed to build a thriving barbershop. The hustle trap is thinking that working longer hours and taking more clients is the path to success. This approach leads straight to burnout, I've seen it multiple times, and keeps you stuck as a self-employed barber rather than an actual business owner. And then finally, the worst one is the price trap. Competing on price rather than experience, which creates a race to the bottom, not a fucking race to the top, and attracts price-sensitive clients who will leave you, or anyone for a matter of fact, for $5 cheaper. I learned these lessons the hard way. During my first 6 months, I was the first to arrive, last to leave, and the cheapest option in town. I was exhausted, broke, and on the verge of closing. That was until I discovered and created my barber business blueprint, and this changed absolutely everything. My framework has 3 phases that build on each other. Implement them in order for maximum impact, because I'm about to give them to you now. So phase 1 is your client selection strategy. First, you need to decide exactly who your barbershop is for. Most barbers try to serve everyone, which means they'll truly connect with no one. Define your ideal client using these criterias. Demographics, so that's your age, income, and occupation. Frequency of cuts. Every 2 weeks is ideal, but obviously every 4 weeks is more like it. Style preferences, do you want to be traditional or modern, etc. And then finally, you want to look at your client's spending capacity. You want to hit a premium pricing potential here ideally. Let me give you an example. When I reposition my shop, I focus exclusively on busy professionals aged 28 to 45 who value consistency, convenience, and quality over price. This clarity drives every subsequent decision that the client needs to make. I'm taking it out of their hands and showing them what my service does for them. Okay, so now let's talk about engineering the experience of your shop and transforming it from a commodity service into a premium experience. So the first thing I want to tackle is the entry experience. So let me ask you this. What happens the moment when your clients walk in? The second thing I want to cover is the service rituals. What makes your haircut process memorable above everybody else's? And then your exit moments. How do your clients feel when they're leaving the shop? Small touches like this make a fucking huge difference. We implemented things like hot towel finishes, complimentary beverages, and digital check-ins that eliminated waiting, all increasing our perceived value of our service. The next thing you want to work on is price architecture. Replacing standard pricing with a strategic tier system is the only way forward. You want to have a basic service, so that's 80% of your competitor's price. A standard service, which is 30% above your competitor's price. And then a premium experience, which is 100% above your market rate. The key is each tier must have clear, tangible differences in experience, not just time or technical elements here. So make sure that you're clear. When we introduced this model, 72% of those clients chose our middle tier product, and 18% selected our premium option, immediately boosting our average ticket price by 47%. But more importantly, we only used to deliver a basic service. Now we've upsold a shitload of clients, and they're a higher value lifetime affordability to us. Phase 2 is the systems development. So we want to look at the appointment optimizer. Implementing a system that maximizes both efficiency and client experience. Something like a digital booking system will eliminate interruptions and booking errors, a buffer time integration between each client, build a 5 to 10 minute space between appointments just to give that client that little bit of extra time if they need it. And then finally, reminder sequences are key here. Sending that client a message right before the appointment is a game changer. It reduces no-shows with automated communication, and you don't have to do it. There's no excuse why you shouldn't have this reminder sequence in place. This system alone reduced our no-show rate from 12% to under 2% and recovered 7+ hours a week of productive time, so that we was able, if a client was going to no-show at last minute, we could either get a new client in, or I could give my staff something to do with client acquisition to fill spots they haven't got for the rest of the week. The next thing we could introduce is a barber scorecard. This creates performance metrics beyond just haircut quality and actually allows you to run a business as a fucking business and not just a free-for-all. So we want to get each barber's client retention rate to about 85%, their rebooking percentage to about 70%, and then their retail attachment rate, which is obviously upsells of products. And the goal here would be great of 15%. That's what we run currently. Another thing we looked at was the average ticket value. By tracking these metrics weekly, we identified exactly where each barber needed support or training, resulting in 34% increase in team performance. Listen, within 60 days. That's 2 months. We implemented one thing, and there was a huge 34% increase in team performance. So you also want to take a look at the client journey automation. We've developed a systematic client communication flow, and here's the minimum viable product you want to install in your business too. So you want a pre-appointment confirmation and appointment reminder message, and then post-cut, you want a thank you and feedback request. This has resulted in over 750, or let's say it's contributed to over 750 Google reviews for us. We use Nearcut, so shout out Nearcut. They've got a special feature that when a client leaves a great feedback, they ask the client to push it through to Google. Obviously, then pushes you up higher on Google. So check them out, link in the description. Between the visits as well, we also want to add some content and maintenance tips. So we send out a monthly newsletter at all of my barbershops just to keep us in the loop, as well as obviously posted on social media. And then a rebooking trigger. So actually, again, shout out Nearcut. We actually use a 4-week reminder. If a client hasn't been in for 4 weeks, they'll get an automated email just to let them know we haven't seen them and if they'd like to book an appointment in the near future. This automated sequence runs without your daily involvement, yet it makes your clients feel continuously cared for. It's all about building that rapport with your clients. All right, let's get into phase 3, scale architecture. Now, most barbershops hire based on technical skill alone. Instead, I've developed a 3-part assessment. So we want to look at the technical ability, the cutting skills and consistency, client connection, which is the communication and relationship building skills the barber has, and then the business mindset. Do they understand the retention and average ticket price for each client and how to increase it? You need to go ahead and hire for all 3, but prioritize the second and third elements. Technical skills can be refined, but mindset and people skills are much harder to develop within your team. Remember, one basic rule is to hire for culture, not for skill. The next stage of this phase is your marketing ecosystem. Very, very important. We want to create a marketing system that generates consistent new clients without requiring your daily involvement. So we want to create a referral engine. That could be a structured program that incentivizes and rewards local referrals. Your local business alliances. So this is a strategy to partner up with local businesses that complement your own and you can share clientele. You want to have a content system, mainly your before and after transformations, so that they're shared across all your platforms and get your audience to know you, like you, and trust you. And then finally, we look at your Google business optimization, so your systems for generating and managing your reviews in your local area and Google search. When we implemented this ecosystem, we constantly generated 15 to 20 new leads every single week without spending $1 on advertising. One important thing that most business owners actually miss is the financial freedom framework. So this is implementing a profit-first financial system, and I'm about to give it to you for free. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what worked for me in my first business. So here it is for you guys at home. Now, I would set up 5 separate accounts here. So one would be an operating expenses account, and I would allocate 55% of my turnover into this account. But again, I'm not a tax advisor, but I've allocated 15% here. So in your third account, I set up an owner's compensation account and I allocate 10% there. The fourth account would be profit. So I'd like to put 10% of the profit back into the business. And then the growth fund is the final one, which is if I ever want to upscale, move business, or, I need to open up another shop, I'll use that from this funding account. So how we do it, we actually do it twice monthly, but you need to move money on a fixed schedule. You want this to be religious. You want to be absolutely dialed in on what you're doing. You need to make all financial decisions based on account balances, not your projections. I see it so many times where business owners, especially barbers, because money comes easily and freely daily, they are not translucent and they're not transparent with their spending, and they spend before they get it. This simple system ensured we always had cash reserves, could take profit from distributions, and funded our expansion and opening more shops without debt. So if you're a multi-barbershop owner or multi-business owner, you know how it feels to go and open up a new shop that's bought and paid for and you haven't got a loan to pay. The framework I've just given you though isn't just theory, it's been tested and proven across dozens of barbershop businesses. James, a client of mine, opened his first shop in a competitive area with 7 other barbershops nearby. Within 9 months of implementing this blueprint, his average ticket price increased from £25 to £47. Client retention went from 63% to 89%, and his shop just hit 12,300 in weekly revenue, and he only has 4 chairs. Now he works 3 days a week, focusing on his business growth and spending more time with his family. Marcus, who is another barbershop owner of mine, took over a struggling barbershop that was losing $2,000 a month. After applying my system, he turned a profit within 45 days, increased the client base by 34% in just 3 months, and then raised prices twice without losing a single client because he over-delivered in value. He also generated enough cash flow to operate a second location within 12 months. This system, I promise you, not only works for these guys, it will work for you. And it doesn't matter whether you are in a specific location, what level of experience you have, or what your current situation is. If you're ready to transform your barber shop or your barber studio from a job into a thriving business, here is how you can start today. Download my Barber Business Calculator in the description below. This will help you identify your current numbers and set targets for growth. Choose one aspect of your client experience to enhance this week. Take action, stop fucking around. That's my fucking big advice for you here. Make it something that you can implement immediately. Begin tracking your key metrics, retention rate, average ticket price, and your rebooking percentages to get to that next level. And for those of you who are ready and serious to implement the complete blueprint, I've created the Barber Business Accelerator program that includes all the systems, templates, and the direct guidance to transform your barbershop into a thriving business. All you got to do is click the link in the description below to learn more and book a call with me, or download the free calculator to get started today all by yourself. Drop a comment with your biggest barbershop challenge, and I'll personally respond with my specific guidance on what I would do if I was in your situation. Remember, the difference between a struggling barbershop and a thriving barbershop isn't your cutting skills behind the chair, it's your business systems in the day-to-day. Once again, I appreciate you listening in. I hope you found this video valuable. If you have, you'll probably like this one right here. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Let's go.